8:32, and illegal migrant housing is the latest problem the city is now being forced to deal with in the wake of the migrant crisis in New York City.
Yeah, before the housing issue, the city was cracking down on migrant crime, and before that, it was the demand on an overburdened shelter system. Public advocate Jumaane Williams has been keeping tabs on the city's response to the asylum seekers and is releasing his findings today. He's joining us this morning with a preview of that report. So good morning to you, public advocate. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us this morning.
Good morning. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, let's start with discussing the discovery of these illegal and overcrowded migrant housing units in Queens and also in the Bronx. A lot of people saying this speaks volumes about the city's response and its shelter limit policy. What do you say?
You know what it does? One, I'm always clear that this situation is untenable without federal assistance and even our governor really stepping in. With that, there's some things we can do better. We did know that the 60-day rule was going to hit hard, in particular how disruptive it was and how it was put into play. So we're not surprised to see this. I do want to say the people who are hit the hardest now are Black migrants who are coming from African countries and Haiti and such. And you saw that here. And we've been trying to sound the alarm in particular for these migrants who don't have any of the infrastructure that's needed to try to make it here.
You know, public advocate, the business owner here, Ibo Sar, who was running both of those operations, he says he was just trying to help the migrants, says this should bring attention to how bad the situation is in the shelters. Administration saying, well, he was charging them, so how much was he really helping? Do you think that he should face charges, or should the city work with him when he has the space to maybe arrive at a better solution?
You know, I think both things are true. I think, you know, there was a situation you can make a couple of dollars, but knowing the community, I also think he really was trying to provide some assistance as best he could. It was a very, very dangerous space, and God forbid something that happened there, we'd have lost a lot of lives. But I do think it's highlighting a very, very serious situation. And that community in particular is not as connected to government to be able to provide the resources that community needs. And that's what we really need to help to coordinate that community's resources and the assistance that's needed. And we've been trying to highlight the plight of Black migrants in particular for a very long time.
Should he face charges?
I think there should be accountability, and we should talk about what that is. And you can't just have people in those dangerous situations, but we want to make sure it's proportional to what it was that was happening.
Yeah. I mean, also migrants have been in the headlines for violent offenses recently and crimes, which your report also addresses. So can you elaborate on what your findings were there?
Yeah, there's always, when you have, you can make a circle around 100,000 people, and you're going to find people who unfortunately flout the law. This is no different. But what we do know is there's no particular increase with this particular population. As a matter of fact, all data shows that there's usually less crime with this particular population. That doesn't mean that what you see is not true, because it is. And we want to make sure that folks are held accountable as they should be. But the bigger narrative here is to make sure that we're not doing messaging that will provide harm. So what we've seen, unfortunately, is a messaging that usually comes from conservatives, but unfortunately is coming more and more from our city officials, which is, this is crime. The reason we have to make these cuts are because of the migrants. And those things are much exaggerated than they need to be. And that has been part of the harm that we see happening.
Some of that messaging that the mayor has really been sounding the alarm on is working with ICE for those who commit crimes and having them deported, right? And he says he would like to work with ICE, but they can't because of the sanctuary city laws. And other city officials saying, we'll let the due process play out. Where do you stand? If someone commits a crime, slashes someone, stabs someone allegedly, should they be deported and then come back for their court date?
Well, I would stand with the mayor of 2 years ago, who was saying the exact opposite of what he's saying now. And there is a process in place where deportation can occur if someone is found guilty of a crime. There's no reason to change it now except to feed the narrative and the fear that's not really based in reality. And sanctuary city provision laws is not what the problem is here. The problem is a mismanagement of housing over decades, a mismanagement of shelter system over decades, and the fact that the federal government and the governor and the state are not providing the assistance that's needed. Those are the things that are causing most of the problems that are making it really untenable as we go forward.
I mean, I guess this could be a very broad question, but are there any immediate solutions right now?
Well, the one thing we have to do is make sure we're moving through this without feeding the fear and making sure that people aren't harmed. We have to have a compassionate message even though we navigate through some difficult times. We did put some findings in that we thought might be helpful. The federal government really needs to step up. They just have to. The state and the governor have to do that. There's some volunteer situations that our residents can do. And the city can really do some work around helping how to manage the shelter system. But we really have to get to the heart of the problem, which is affordable housing and how we manage a shelter system. So there are some things we can do.
Okay, and we have that full report on our website, pick7.com. Public Advocate Jumaane Williams, appreciate your time this morning.
Always appreciate it. Thank you.